Hey everyone. So I'm going to try to keep this level. But okay, so I want to talk about manifesting money without any source of, without a job. So the thing that is interesting is that when you ask the universe for money, it's going to come on the path of least resistance. So at first, when you don't have a job and you're trying to manifest money like I am, I have a certain amount of money coming in, but for example, I want to manifest consistent money that's coming in. So more than I already have. So I guess consistency in building a belief is important. So for example, I guess what I'm doing is I'm going to join a network marketing program that doesn't really have any very heavy products. It's just more of an informational product. Now at first it's kind of like, well, why would I do that? Like a lot of people think those are scams, blah, blah, blah. But people who think those are scams aren't in that creative mindset. So number one, MLM and all this network marketing and affiliate marketing and, product placements, these are all creation. You're creating the money. There's an opportunity and you're going into it. And then, if it doesn't work, it's because people say you're not working it or you're not working hard enough. But the thing is that there's no real rules around it but the rules you make. And you have to kind of default to other people. Some people default to other people's rules. Like they have a training program for you, or you have to do 20 hours a week or 30 hours a week. So they try to get you off the 40-hour a week mindset, like a job. And they create new parameters for you. But some people, kind of get blamed. They're like, well, you're not following what I'm telling you. Well, okay, I don't necessarily want to follow what other people do. I want to create the rules for my own mind and my own self. Like, for example, there's a program that you start basically with you buy in for $50, and then you get $100. You have to then you upgrade into the $100 program, and you get 70% or 80% of that. 70% usually. And then so it's each time someone buys something from it, it's you get 70% commission, and then your upline gets something, and then the person who created the company gets 10%. So it's it's really it's a creationary process. It's not a it's not a scam because you're creating it. You're deciding how much money you're going to make, and it comes out of thin air. The Federal Reserve, the whole point of the Federal Reserve System is that there's so much money floating around, and people just have to. The reason most people don't have the money is because most people don't have the right mindset and the right belief system. And it's energy. So you have to believe, but you also have to be of a certain psychology. In my opinion, people who inherit money or who their parents are good at money, they're also good at money, but sometimes if they have other beliefs or blocks, they lose all their money. So it's not because there's something wrong with giving your children money, but it's that they have to have the right mindset, and the right belief system and the right positive attitude around it. So I'm not perfect, man. I'm not going to come here and pretend like I'm an expert. I mean, I do have blocks. I am not perfect. I have blocks on a variety of different levels, and I haven't given up. That's why I have all these videos, throughout time. Now, when I believe, for example, I have all these videos, but it's not really about action, because you have to create the videos to build a belief system sometimes over and over and over and over again. But to be honest, that's also kind of exhausting. There's content creators who post one day, every day. When you're in your 20s and 30s and you're constantly posting shit, you might have that energy to constantly push out crap, but you're not really feeling inspired to do it. And eventually they just kind of quit. But if you decide that you're going to post a video, a small rant video or a small video once a day or once every week, and then that's enough for you and you're okay with that, and you're just kind of grateful that that's enough, and you're not beating yourself up for it, that video will reach people that it needs to reach in order for those people then to buy your product. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like there's only certain things you could physically do. Everyone's connected. So you have to trust that, you have to let things go and just like put it, your intention out there, and then just keep your mind in check. You don't need to like micromanage the damn thing. And that's where I think people have a lot of problems, including me sometimes. I mean, I don't want to micromanage the universe. I just have to then get to the belief where it's like, I have trouble believing the universe. So it's like, I don't just like tell what everyone else to do. I don't, I'm not into the hustle culture. I've tried taking lots of action before. It's not fun. It's not healthy to take constant action when you have a lot of resistance. It hurts the body. Like I am still recovering from a bunch of things that I need to recover from. I'm still trying to change habits. But, when you manifest money your way and it starts to come in, you have to take responsibility for that and know that that's coming from you. And if that's like, if your goal is $100,000 a year, or like, $1 million a year, or like $10,000 a year, in the beginning, there might be some action you probably need to take, unless you can get into a really good feeling place. If you could feel good all the time, you really don't need much action. It's all just emotional leverage that you're using, emotional leverage. But if you're not in that, blissful state, you do have to then take some consistent action. But you set the parameters. Are you going to put a video out once a day? Are you going to put one out twice a week? Are you going to put one out once a week? Are you going to do, So it's like that action kind of cements that you're building a new belief system. And at first, it's not going to work. Like at first, it's going to be slow. But then eventually you're going to be like, okay, like I've been putting it out. I'm waiting. And then, things will happen. And you'll get into that energetic place where you'll be like, okay, like I'm just letting it go. I've done enough or whatever. And then usually that's kind of when it happens. I've gotten what I've wanted when I've gotten to emotional places, not when I've taken lots of action. These people who love to tell you to take action are mostly men who are young souls, who can just pound shit out. And that also have, very little resistance. They could just slam through shit and take a lot of action, okay? That's not me. I have a lot more feminine energy. I have a lot of resistance. I'm not a new soul. I'm not a naive soul. I've been around the block. So for me, my job is put shit out there, not try to convince people. I'm going to put out the link, and I'm going to say this one more time. My video, I don't care if this is a long-winded rant and you don't understand what I'm saying. This is really only intended for selective people. Maybe I'll become mainstream one day. I don't know. But right now, there's a niche audience for me. But like, for example, with my network marketing program, you buy into the $50, and then you have to pay the $100 for the level 1, and then you upgrade, $250 to $500 to $1,000. So it's basically what you're doing is when you start getting a couple of sales at the low end, then you upgrade, and then your psychology, then you say, am I going to get more at this higher end? I don't know, but it's a step. You're taking baby steps along a hierarchy of money. $1 million is no different than $1. But it is in your mind. It's not realistically any different, but you believe it's different. So you have to work with the constraints of your belief system, okay? So the whole idea of network marketing is, you're not just going to go from $0 to $100,000 in like one day, probably, unless you win some money and you could believe that. That's great. But you are going to, you can believe you can make $100. Then once you do that, you can do it again. And then you'd be like, I made it a couple of times. Let's go up to the next level. See if I could believe that. So those levels are layers that you can gradually ascend, okay, of belief. That's the whole purpose. That's the great thing about network marketing. That's the great thing. You can go where you're at and work your way up. You don't need to, oversell. All I'm doing is putting a damn link underneath the description. People will click on it. I don't need to beg them to do it. I mean, the people who are watching my video are of a certain mindset and are probably a little different and maybe have money problems like I do. I'm attracting those people because until I overcome those things, I will attract my mirror. Okay? So that's the whole point. People just start where you're at and then work your way up with the belief system. If you don't believe you could just instantly get, $50,000 or the highest program, and that's too much, you don't have to spend $100. And you know what? Maybe it'll fail. Maybe it won't work. But if you just keep doing it, it will work. You don't need to hop programs. You just need to push through this one because it's all about you, not the program. It's all about you and your mind, not the program. Okay? That's the thing to remember. You're the one creating your life. You're the one manifesting. This whole channel is about manifesting and taking responsibility. Something that, is really only for the 2% of the world. It could be for everyone, but obviously only 2%, 3% people do it. But that's the journey, guys. Okay? Sorry to go on a rant, but I'm noticing the video is not perfect and blah, blah, blah. But I don't want to do. There's things I just don't want to do, and I'm not going to do them because I don't want to. But this video, I think, will help a lot of people. Is specifically meant for certain people, and you will learn a lot of things about manifesting just by setting your own parameters. So set them and see what happens and follow through. It's just easy. Have a good day.